Okay, so it might be a bit echoey in here, but this is my bathroom at home and I'm going to do some makeup tutorial videos for you guys, just so you can see what looks we're trying to aim for and how to get there. And I've got Sarah behind the camera trying to help me and focus on the right things, because I've made a mess of this a few times on my own already. So we're going to start off with doing your base look, what you start off with every morning for every character, and then we're going to move on to a look that's good for your anatomy character, specifically the boys really, and also the Green Lady Storyteller character. Those looks are very, very similar, and from that I'll build that up to a judge look. So we'll start with the base, and this will be the only video that has the base look. All the rest of them I'll assume you know what you're doing at that stage. So without any further ado, we'll start. You start off with your foundation, your face and body. You see that, Sarah? All good. You start off with your face and body. You really don't need a lot of it. I'll just put a little bit of my hand there just so you can see. That's actually almost too much. And almost like a moisturiser, you want to get all areas, work your teeth zones from your nose out to your cheeks. Obviously with my beard I need to make sure that I don't want to sort of colour my beard white as it's starting to do, but I do want to get it between the hairs. Make sure I close my eyes, get it on my eyelids, right into the corners. And it's also important to add some to your ears and your neck and your hands as well. You don't want to look like a ghost, you don't want to look too ghostly. We're trying to look authentic, so the idea is to just look a bit pallid, a little bit pale. Does that show up alright, Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. So it should just look kind of pale and pallid. Do you want to come closer again? You see that okay? I mean we're Scottish anyway, so most of us look pale and pasty anyway. So that's kind of your start, that's how you start each character. Then you do a little bit of sculpting with one of our sculpting powders. We normally use the two, which you should all be familiar with. We use the darker definitive and the slightly lighter sculpt. And for that you need a sculpting brush, and that's just one of the fluffier ones really. This is the one I like to use in work, or similar to it. Start off with a sculpt, and you're kind of drawing a line. Obviously I've got a beard in the way, but a line from your earlobe to your mouth there. So if you bring that in, where you put the powder is dependent on what character you're looking for. If you want more angular cheekbones, then you can add it up here. Whereas if you want to look more like our Escape the Plague character, or some of the iller ones, maybe even the witch, things like that, you want sunken cheeks, so you'll add more powder there, if that makes sense. With the same stuff, I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush there. Again with a sculpt, I'm going to bring that into my sockets of my eyes, right across the eyelid there. I bring it up to my brow, and I even bring it down my nose a little bit there as well. That's kind of smudged, but hopefully you can see that now. And I'm actually going to bring that underneath my eye there as well, just to really darken the socket. So I'm always using my finger to blend anything I'm adding. You don't want any really straight lines. It helps get rid of any mistakes as well. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see the difference between the two eyes there. Can you see that? This one's obviously quite a little darker, and that's just with a sculpt so far. Again, depending on your character, if you're doing one of our meaner characters, Torturer, Sonny Bean, then you can go over what you're doing here a little bit more with the darker definitive sculpting powder. You'll do a little bit across the eyelids now. Okay, I think that's pretty much there, quite sunken eyes now. Okay, so we'll move on to bags. Pretty much all of our characters in the dungeon are a little bit tired. So with a slightly finer brush, that's actually quite a fluffy one, so I'd probably normally use a slightly smaller one than that. I've only brought a smaller selection home. You want to use one of your purple eyeshadow powders. We use Fig 1, Blackberry, but one of the purpley ones. Although it's still a skin tone, you will find purple in some of the shadows. And all I'm really doing here is following the natural bag, or for those of you lucky enough not to have natural bags, where those bags would be. And you're not wanting to sort of make these lines too distinctive, so I'm always blending them in again with my fingers. You can see how that looks already, starting to look kind of tired looking. With that same Fig 1 or Blackberry, the purpley powders, you can then, let's switch to an even finer brush. I'll show you this one in more detail in a little bit. You can bring that around the nostrils, and if you crease your nose like that, you'll see lines down here. Now, those lines are really distinctive right now. If I try and blend them in a little bit, it becomes just shading, hopefully. I'll do the same on the other side, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The more of this you do, the more aged your character is going to look. So for the judge, we'll add a lot more of that. That's a really good starting position for pretty much all of our characters in the dungeon. That's your completed base look, using the sculpting powders across the sockets, across the jawline, making sure you've got a full coverage of the white face and body foundation, and then just bringing some of the purpler powders, the eyeshadows under your eyes to give yourself a slightly more tired look. Okay, so that's your base look. We'll then make that a little bit more of an anatomy character. This is more specifically for the boys, but it does apply to the girls. The girls simply wear a little bit more lippy, and their contouring can be done slightly differently, but really the characters here, makeup wise, are very similar. Really, what we've applied here, the base look, is good for both the Storyteller and Green Lady and the Anatomist. The only thing I'd say is they're probably a bit grubbier. In the anatomy theatre, we've been collecting bodies, so for that you just add some of our browns. So we've got our cream colour base here, if I can get it open. There we go. Cream colour base, and also we decant some of our paint sticks, our coloured paint sticks, into tubs just like that. Those are the two that really you'd use. This one's slightly less noticeable in the dark, whereas this one's a little bit darker. So I'm going to build up two looks with that so you can see what I'm talking about. So start with the cream colour base. Just add some smudges around the face, maybe across the nose there, on the cheeks. There we go, so that's just the cream colour base so far. Not entirely noticeable, I don't know how the lights in here are picking that up. They alright? And then on top of that, I'm going to add some of the brown paint stick. You can already see that's a little bit darker, so I'm not going to leave it quite so distinctive. It looks like I look a bit like a Dalmatian right now. So I'll smudge them in a wee touch. You're an anatomist, you know, you've been there, your work at night, you've been dealing with bodies and whatnot, so you're a little bit grubby. And same goes for your storyteller, you know your stuff, but you've been hanging around a ruin of a haunted building. So that's pretty much it. For both the characters though, they have been out in the cold a little bit, so the only other thing I'd add is a little bit of red paint stick. And for that I'm going to apply it with one of our torn makeup sponges. So literally it's just one of the triangular white makeup sponges. This one's been well used. Torn in half to give it a bit of a rougher surface. And then very lightly, whenever we're applying these, you have to do it very lightly. Load up your sponge and then very, very lightly apply it to the nose. Around the nostrils. Thankfully I just had a cold, so my nostrils are already pretty red. So that's almost a bit too intense. So again, the key is always to blend a little bit. This character, both the Storyteller and Green Lady and David Patterson in the Anatomy Theatre have been working out in the cold a little bit. So that's your anatomist and your storyteller look, and these are applicable both for male and female characters. As I said, with the female, really just you can add a little bit more eyeshadow using the purples we used on our base look, and the lip mix across the lips, and just very sparingly with the lip mix. It's so highly pigmented that you really need just the smallest amount. And with pretty much all the makeup we use, start small and then build up. If you add too much, you're just going to look terrible very quickly. So from that, we're going to change that now into the Judge look. The Judge isn't going to be really as dirty as this, so just by blending, just by wiping a little bit, I'm going to remove some of the dirtier marks. Across the nose especially. So I've kind of removed most of the dirt now. What I'm going to do now is the bags we added in the base look, the purple bags underneath the eyes, I'm going to extend those. Our Judge is probably our oldest character. So I'm going to extend those again using quite a fine brush, either the finer, fluffier ones, or the ones you'd use for scars. And I'm going to bring the bags, as opposed to stopping just below the pupil, I'm going to try and bring them all the way across. And then with that I'm going to try and add some more wrinkles as well. So these can be a little bit more distinctive as well. You don't need to blend them nearly as much because this character is supposed to be older, so the bags are going to be slightly more defined. I bring it close to the eye as well. So it looks like I've got bags upon bags. I bring some down from the corner, which I then blend in. Trying to show you how I apply it as well. The angles are a bit odd. Okay, so now my bags are a little bit bigger. While I've got this brush in my hand and the purple eyeshadow, and I'm going to crease my eye, and then you can see your natural crow's feet. And once you've got an idea of where they naturally form, you can then start adding some of them in. Winking at yourself in the mirror a little bit. Again, I'd say the idea is best to follow with these is less is more, and remember to always blend. Okay, same brush, same material. I'm then going to add some more distinction to my forehead, starting between the eyebrows and then into those natural creases there. Again, if you don't have any natural creases, lucky you. Too often when you see people doing these sort of creases though, you end up with people that just look like train tracks across their foreheads. So make sure you blend these effectively to make them just look like wrinkles. Hopefully you can see that. And you can see I've done some up from my eyebrows as well, just to give myself a bit of an angrier look. The Judging was too nice a person. Okay, I'm going to accentuate what I added in the base look, which was the lines around the nostrils, and down into these creases that you can see here. There you go, I've drawn them on rather thickly there. So as I said before, it's all about blending. I'm blending with my finger. Feel free to blend with a clean, small, fluffy brush. Something like that is good for blending as well. You see that? Okay, I'm actually going to add some more of the sculpt to my cheeks now, just to make myself look a little bit more sunken in. I'm a little bit older, so you have slightly more sunken in cheeks. So adding more of the sculpt powder closer to the mouth. Just draws in the cheeks. Going back to the eyes as well, again with a fine brush. You can actually use some of the white, some of the face and body a little bit more intensely. So I'm just applying that directly to the brush. And in the spaces between the lines, I'll show you in just a second. You can see there. What the white does is it actually makes the bags look fluffier. I'm not going to leave it like that. I blend it in using a brush. It just makes it look like your bags are just full of that water. And then already a little bit more blending. But it brought those bags out a little bit, made them look a bit more puffy. Good. Okay, so we're nearly there now. The red nose we're going to build upon. This time we're going to use one of the hair bun scrunchies. Just the surface is really good for applying stipulation onto the nose and the cheeks. The Judge is a bit of a boozer. So again with a red paint stick, load that up. There we go. Not too much, but enough. And you have to be so sparing with this. I might well make a mistake, which might be good for the video's sake, but less is definitely more when applying this. There we go. I've added a little bit too much to the centre. You're also going to add that to the cheeks, just the apples of your cheeks, just that spot right there. Because this looks like broken capillaries underneath the skin from a lifetime of a bit of boozing. So the red looks good. If you put any where you don't want it, try and blend it in. Be careful about what's on your hands. Like I said, the centre of my nose is really red, I look a bit Rudolphish. And then with the same scrunchie on a different area, I'm going to then add some of the purple. You need less of this, these are really broken capillaries. We'll see what we can do. This just darkens it a little bit. Get rid of the stuff I don't like. And there you go. With the wig on, I'm starting to look rather old, rather grumpy. Bit of a curmudgeon. And the one thing I almost forgot was you can also bring down the corners of your mouth. Make you look that this part of your body is quite drawn out as well. For that, again, you'd use the sculpting powder, just into the corners of your mouth there, to make you look a bit more jowly when upset. That's kind of the idea for that. So there we go. In this makeup video, you've hopefully seen the base look we start every character with, the anatomy look is also applicable for the Green Lady Storyteller, and also the Judge, a little bit of an older look there. These are kind of the cleanest characters we got. Yeah, that's your first makeup video. Hopefully that was helpful.